Meredith,
Hank, I had no idea you were coming.
it's been on the calendar for months. What are we doing?
Welcome to the Hickory Tree.
Thank you very much.
Such a surprise.
I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate you doing this interview.
Yes.
You know, when I started doing this, I really wanted to learn more about a town and a place that I grew up in and spent a lot of time in. I thought I knew a lot about it.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to realize that there's people and places that I don't know as much about. And so getting these interviews underway and kind of talking a little bit more about it has been beneficial.
Nice.
And so I wanted to see if you want to have a seat and answer a couple of my questions.
Let's have a seat on this gorgeous leather sectional.
You know, like I said, when I started doing this, I always ask people a little bit about the beginning of how they came to Hickory. And you were at Appalachian State.
Yes, Appalachian grad, 2003.
Okay, decided to come down here
Yep.
and kind of start your working career. So what pulled you to Catawba County and Hickory?
The number one thing at that time that brought me to Hickory was cost of living. Boone is a high-priced place and not job-rich, and Hickory at that time, unfortunately, was flush with foreclosures and investment opportunity. And so also a low cost of living, and a young person could buy a brand new house here for $80,000, you know, so that was one of the draws. And I also had some friends and social connections, like church connections, that brought me here. But really, if I'm honest, it was the low cost of living, which is still comparatively there.
Right. No,
not quite as much.
You're
but
exactly right. You're exactly right. And you came into town and decided to get your real estate license.
Yes.
And were extremely good. I got to see you in all your glory at Coldwell Banker, but quickly decided that after a couple years that there was something else pulling you, and it was an entrepreneurial spirit. Talk to me about coming in, starting your career, and then kind of transitioning.
Yes. Well, Coldwell Banker was absolutely my anchoring place for community and place. I was a kind of hippie, free-spirited young thing, and Coldwell Banker was where I got networked and grounded and really saw the potential in Hickory because of just the people who love and sell hickory for a living can impart that. So they did impart that to me. And then I think my parents moved here even from Charlotte. So now we're multi-generational hickory transplants, and they love it here. They're actually aging here, which is a great community to age in as well. But anyway, I was pulled into, I'm a very creative soul, so I think real estate was wonderful. It gave me a lot of freedom. But the Hickory Tree allowed me to really move in my entrepreneurial and creativity for design and furniture. And Hickory is so rich in the history of furniture. I didn't even realize at the time how much that was going to benefit this model, but man, we have an opportunity to sell furniture that, you know, other communities, Charlotte, Asheville, and all them, we hear all the time, there is nothing like this in Charlotte, Asheville, wherever. So Hickory was just a beautiful place to do it. But yeah, I got pulled over mostly because of the creativity and passion for the furniture industry. And it's cool because I didn't grow up in it. A lot of people did. So yeah.
Well, when you came here, you chose Old Lenore Road in this area, which probably was a new spot, an interesting, a scary spot, not because of anything other than this was warehouse and it was more commercial than what you were trying to do. Right. And you came here and kind of put your roots in. Talk to me about like your choice to come right here.
Yes. Well, the proximity to the best parts of Hickory, Old Lenore Road has, you know, what now we're calling the Ollie Arts District, was really blighted. And was not my first choice for a bougie furniture consignment store, but I kept getting pushed in this direction because of the low rent, which is super wise. Thank goodness I asked around and used people who were in the profession, you know, said low rent, low rent, low rent. So once again, affordability was a huge piece of me coming here. But it didn't take long to see all the potential for the arts and for the just transformation of this district, being a warehouse district. JD and I looked around at other areas like the River Arts District in Asheville, South End in Charlotte, other warehouse districts that were at one time super blighted that transformed. And so, and then we quickly figured out everyone saw the potential of this district. There are barriers wheels of change turn slowly in a small town. People that hold things like to keep hold of them, whether they really need it or not. That's just life.
Right.
So we are seeing the process move slowly, but we've had some major turning points lately with North Hickory Market and other people who've actually gotten a hold of something and been able to unlock the potential. So yeah, it's been amazing to start. And then we've got the bond projects coming. We will be the final connector to get people to be able to walk from LR all the way to the lake. It's going to be incredible. So we're like holding out for that big piece. But yeah, we saw the potential all along, and it didn't take long to see everyone else did too.
Right.
And it's just now the process of getting the property in the hands of people with the vision and the money to do something with it.
And we've talked with other people that I've interviewed, we've talked about how, you know, our municipality is helping in all of this with the bond referendum and connecting, you know, the downtown with LR to the lake, to the Aviation Museum, to Ridgeview Library. All of those things are a part of what we're doing as a community to make sure that we are all connected, which is incredible.
As we say that, a fellow walks down the road in 45-mile-per-hour traffic, almost to die. So yes, we're really glad the city's doing that.
Yeah, but you also talked about the introduction of North Hickory Market, which is there hasn't been food on this side of town, which is going
food desert they call it. We were a food desert, and that is a massive tipping point for this area.
For sure.
And we hope brewery will follow. We think City Walk has done fabulous things. We think there's room for something very similar to that in a big old warehouse on this side of town. We just got to find the right warehouse owner who will let it go to someone with a brewery budget, which is once again the challenge. But it's got to happen. Surely it will.
Right.
Surely it will.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about like this area and moving forward, and it takes people to do that, right? And you are very involved, whether it's a grassroots kind of Friends of Hickory was part of that, and your district is part of that. But you know, there's large group that help tackle some of these major things that the city is concerned with, and then you've been part of these small ones. And how important are these small ones to getting, you know, 2 miles worth of road and 2 miles with like how important was it for you to be a part of
I mean, if you had told me when I bought this building, and we rented it, we paid for it twice because we rented it once and then bought it, but for a while. But if you'd told me when we invested in this property and built this business that we would in 10 years or 12 years, however, have sidewalks, beautiful landscape, plantings, lights. There's going to be a district that is created. There's tear downs that happen next door. It was raining inside a big warehouse, and the city, you know, facilitated getting that gone. So a lot of things we hoped for, but maybe didn't really think were going to happen, have. So the city has definitely been, as long as you're willing to not just be a whiner, but get in there with them and do some work, the city has been a great partner. And we work with Dave Leonetti as our liaison to the city. He's always quick to lift the phone. And one of the things we are working with Friends of Hickory a little bit now to envision a dog park in the district. We have a few places, once again, attaining the property is the hard part, finding someone. But there is some budget for city dog park development. So we're hopeful for that. But a lot of the things I've dreamed of or hoped for have happened. So there's no reason to think that one wouldn't. It's a little slower than I've hoped, but I'm American. I want everything now. It doesn't work that way. But I do really feel encouraged, and I cannot wait to see the walkability in this district. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so, you know, we were talking about, you know, since you got here, the growth of it and the excitement of it. But there's also some change that needs to happen, and when you start thinking about, you know, your stretch of road, or you start talking about things that make you nervous, or, you know, you have young children and, you know, things that have concerns for you. What are some things that keep you up at night that you're like, all right, 5-10 years from now, I need some answers to, or we need to tackle?
I would love to see younger working class people choosing to live here, and a lot of that I feel like could be facilitated through more destinations that they enjoy. I think this arts district could be that. We got a glass blower who's doing glass blowing classes. We have you know, the pottery, which is offering pottery classes. We have Hunter doing yoga classes and things like that in his art studio, Hunter Spiegel. So we do have good things, like I think quality of life for that younger working age people, which, as you mentioned, my children would absolutely love one of my children or all three girls to end up building their life here. They do love Hickory. But I think to attract those younger working age folks, we are going to have areas like the Ollie Arts District. where that quality of life is offered. And downtown's fabulous as well, but we need just more than that. And you mentioned local development and how that I do feel is really important, that we get some of these properties in the hands of the right folks before we end up with big box development, strip mall development. We would love to see something local happen here, not something another commercial district just pop up here, which is possible if we can't get people to release. If we hold things tightly, we don't see the vision of the future come. So that would probably be my biggest fear, would be that the property owners who have something that's blighted, they're not really using, they don't really need, but they won't let go for whatever reason, would hold things until Taco Bell comes and pays them $1 million, and then we get a Taco Bell instead of an art studio. For this district, that's one of my fears. And then I feel like we do lose the opportunity to create a really cool local district. And with Appalachian right there, LR now being connected and walkable, this could be a huge amenity to that population.
So now going to the other side of the spectrum, you talk about, like, let's talk about things that excite you and excite you for when your kids are leaving high school, coming back into their 20s, early 20s. What excites you in 10 years for this area?
I think continuing to see more exciting destinations, because think about in 5 years how much we've seen develop in new restaurants, new breweries, new just all sorts of new things. I think I'm excited to continue, even for myself, not even my kids, to have more choices when it comes to food, more diversity. We see things like, oh my goodness, the Indian restaurant. Help. Okay, it's coming. Taj, yes. You got to leave that in. Okay. Taj, Indian, just more options that young folks are a little more adventurous, but also, So I think I get excited about Hickory growing in just destination and options for lifestyle. I think it's really cool. I love the fact that Hickory's small and established and doesn't change over time. It seems to hold its essence, like has been mentioned in a lot of your interviews. But I do think the growth of just a little bit more diversity of options for what you do on a Friday night and a weekend is like huge quality of life piece for me. So,
and the way I look at this area too is it's a rebirth of this area.
Yes.
Our downtown is our heart.
Yes.
But we want it to expand out to all these different districts, and they should be different.
Yeah.
They should be exciting.
Right. You want to hop.
Yeah, and you want to be able to, because as a real estate agent, when we're attracting people, not everybody has the same interests.
Yeah.
And so you want to be able to adapt and turn, and sometimes the lake's going to be important, sometimes the art district's going to be important.
Right.
And Hickory has a lot to give as far as the arts are concerned.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it didn't necessarily used to be that you could meet up with a group of buddies and start here and walk over to the dive bar and then go have a drink at the,
tap room.
Yeah, just all these places you can hop, and now that just grows because you can continue to walk or ride to other districts like Asheville, West Asheville, that kind of vibe. So, and then walkability and bikeability is growing a lot, and there's a lot of living in downtown Hickory. So probably one of my favorite quality of life pieces for Hickory, why I love being here and would probably never be able to leave, is no traffic, which I hope it stays that way, low traffic. And I can be at my kids' school, work, my church, and ballet and soccer in about 10 minutes or less, 5 minutes. So there's not a lot of communities that offer that amenity. So those kind of amenities are what help get me really excited about life in Hickory, and I hope they don't change.
I really appreciate your willingness to sit down, because these are the interviews that we have to have about not just the people that grew up here and found a newfound love in a family business, or something that was very familiar to them. It's people that are coming in and finding the love for this town that we all some may take for granted, and kind of rejuvenating it and picking up a part of town that has just this huge potential. So I appreciate your willingness to come in.
You're welcome.
Talk a little bit about it.
We like to be a poster child for Hickory because we see we have a huge regional following. People are coming to Hickory to shop here from Asheville and Boone and Blowing Rock and even down in Mooresville and Denver. So we get to tell them, they say, where do I go to lunch? Or and we say, we need to have a little guidebook, but we love drawing people here to see how great Hickory is. And thanks for coming and chatting with me about it.
Yeah, thank you very much.